Hello, I'm your co-host Peridot Person, and welcome to episode 1B of Jamixiy's Tournament TWOWs. I've gone ahead and slightly adjusted how episodes B and C will play out. In today's episode, we will be going over the matches which don't include those who participated in the 1A rounds, and that 1C will have them instead. Also, after not appearing in episode 1A, I'm happy to announce that none other than Jamixiy himself has finally gotten a mic.
I've had a mic already.
Well, yeah, I know.
Anyway, let's get this episode started.
Before we get started, here are the stats from last round.
As we can see, Mindflex stands out from the rest of the competition with 81% of the seed's votes. And EdKick35 having the lowest, only having 19%.
Now, let's begin. Unlike last episode, let's start with the right side of the brackets with AO Red versus FML. Also, I noticed that a lot of people were mainly voting for the left side of the seeds in 1A, so I mixed around the responses so you don't know whose is whose.
The responses for Prompt 1 were Ice Ice Baby and The Best Song Ever Written. Gotta be sneaky with it.
I will not stand for this Ice Ice Baby slander any longer. Let's see the 14 votes.
Only 14 votes?
Yes, Jam, 14. Anyone watching this, join the Discord server in the description so that you can vote on seeds too. Looks like I wasn't the only one who disapproved of Ice Ice Baby slandering, although it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. AO Red wins this round. The responses for Prompt 2 were, you can dry out wet phones in the microwave, and want a girlfriend? Just show her your level 15 Town Hall in Clash of Clans.
Hell yeah, I love microtransactions.
I was a bit worried that it meant something much different. Let's see if the voters did too.
And they did. FML wins the round with a dangerous alternative solution to putting your phone in a bag of rice.
It's all tied up. Let's see who wins in Prompt 3.
Their responses were, if you're not cool, it's technically not a war crime, and fighting about little things.
What does that last one mean?
Not entirely sure. Let's see the votes.
13-1? That's the closest we've had to one person getting every vote yet.
Seriously, what does this mean?
Well, maybe AO Red will, because they've moved on to round 2.
Up next is Shadow Leafy versus Glass Bottle Brain.
The Best Month has changed their name to Glass Bottle Brain, so from now on we'll be referring to that name.
The responses to the first prompt were a collection of songs sampling the reproductive activity of donkeys, ew, and without melodies, harmonies, or background, I dub it random.random, open bracket, close bracket, exclamation mark.
Let's see those 18 votes. Looks like a sample of donkeys are worse than a collection of random noises.
Glass Bottle Brain gets the first point.
Next up, we have posting meta responses without fail results in high placements in TWOW tournaments, and compounds and suave antiperspirants, trademark, make it optimal for treating burns.
Let's see if the meta response is the meta.
Looks like it does. I'll have to think about that the next time I'm in a TWOW. I don't want a third last placement.
Maybe it's because you suck at TWOWs.
Shut up. Anyway, Shadow Leafy gets this point.
The responses for Prompt 3 were, cover up the smell of dog dander using cat pee, and even when diluted, sulfuric acid is still a pretty bad solution.
Clever pun using the alternate meaning of solution. Let's see if the voters agreed.
Evidently not. Glass Bottle Brain gets the second point and moves on to round 2.
Next up, we have Vin Cactus versus Sid.
This seed got 16 votes.
The responses for Prompt 1 were, oh no, I messed up, oh no, and Busker on a City Bus featuring Crying Babies, Trap Remix.
That first one sounds like the artist is really giving their song second thoughts. Let's see the votes.
Well, Sid must be giving their response second thoughts because Vin Cactus wins this round.
We haven't skipped around in a while.
That's true. Let's check out Prompt 3's responses. Sock puppets with lips so you can get truly immersed, and can't get out of bed? Haul it around with you.
I'm not sure how I feel about getting immersed in sock puppets, but who knows? Maybe the voters want to.
Whoa, it's a tie.
Well, that's a first.
This is a good time to explain how a tie would work in this case. What will happen is that we'll add up the voting percentages of the two other prompts, and whoever has the highest percentage will get the point.
So let's look back at prompt 2 and find out. The responses were: pour lemon juice on your GPU so it doesn't overheat, and filling cereal boxes with water make for great fish tanks.
Let's break this tie.
Looks like the tie didn't matter because Vin got 2 points.
So with the higher percentage in the previous two responses, Vin gets the third point as well, and that gives him the first 3-0 score of 1B. For the last match on the right side, we have RPDC versus Watt and Tarnation.
The responses for prompt 1 were: the best music to ever be created on opposite day, and free XOs from Bethlehem. I don't know how to say that.
That last one is a tad profane. Let's see if that type of humor was popular amongst the 17 voters. Evidently not. RPDC gets the first point with a 14-3 vote.
Let's move on to the next prompt.
The solutions provided this time are: use a can opener to open your soda cans. It explains can opener. And use candy canes as nails to build a gingerbread house. With a slim 8-9 vote, Watt and Tarnation grabs their first point of this round. Now, we're down to the third prompt to decide who moves on to round 2.
The responses to prompt 3 are: missing your remote, hopelessly shout out your TV, and use vegetable oil to use as fuel for your car.
Let's find out who wins this seed.
Looks like the voters love TVs more than vegetable oil. RPDC wins the seed and moves on to round 2 of JTT.
And this concludes the right side of our bracket. The first 4 people who will be competing in round 2 are AO Red, Glass Bottle Brain, Vin Cactus, and RPDC.
Now, let's move on to the left side of the brackets.
Our next matchup is Cyan versus I Won't Use This 255.
Hello, Future Peridot here. So I Won't Use This left the server, and they don't seem to be in any TWOWs anymore, so because of this, Cyan will be moving on by default. I know this is kinda bizarre, and some of you may be against this decision, but at this point I don't know quite what else to do, and I'm pretty sure that this will only happen once. I don't think this will ever happen again. So, yeah, congratulations, Cyan. You move on.
Up next, we have Ice versus TWOW Apple.
The first prompt's responses were cats, cats, cats. I chant cats for around 5 minutes, and this is an astonishing piece. It's called Revolution.
I don't know if I'd listen to cats over and over again for 5 minutes, but let's see if the 17 voters agree.
It looks like they do. Ice gets the first point of the round.
Next up, applying layers of honey on stains will slowly dissipate them, and halves of plastic cups will amplify laptop speakers.
Let's see the votes.
It's a really close one, but Ice gets the second point of the round too and wins the seed.
Before we move on, let's see how Ice did in the third prompt.
The responses were running out of beverage, saliva increases the amount of drink, and price controls are a bad solution for inflation.
But let's see what the voters think.
Just the same as the votes for the first prompt. Congrats, Ice!
Alright, the next matchup is the Wacky Executive versus YTP Fan 188.
This seed had the most votes out of all the scenes in 1B with 19 votes.
Even though that was the least votes in 1A.
It's fine, Jam. We make do. Anyway, the responses for prompt 1 were, this is what happens when you let a book compose, and the world's worst ear-splitting experience.
Let's tally those votes.
Even the self-proclaimed worst experience in the world couldn't beat something written by a book. YTP Fan gets the first point.
Now for prompt 2. Microwaving an egg for 5 minutes makes it hard-boiled. And Press the power button to win the game.
Will this video game cheat code get the win? Turns out it doesn't, but the prompt that won isn't by YTP Fan. The wacky executive gets this point.
Let's go to the third prompt to see who wins this tie.
The responses to the third prompt were, keep stubbing your toes, sell the furniture you stubbed them at, and sucker game too long, try using 2 balls.
Selling all your furniture seems like an interesting but functional solution. Let's see what the voters think.
They don't quite agree. With 2 points, YTP Fan 188 moves on to round 2.
Now, on to the final seed of the episode. The Real Airy versus Crazy Blues.
The responses to prompt 1 this time around were, the overly rancid tune, unharmonic, rapsy, ear-splitting, definitely. And since it doesn't deserve a good title, call it L.
That's a pretty clever acronym. Let's see if the 15 voters caught on to that.
They sure did. The Real Airy gets the first point with their acronomical entry.
The next responses are for prompt 2, and they are, if your phone is wet, use rice to dry it. And afraid of burglars? Try Kevin's traps from Home Alone.
This is the second time we've heard the rice trick for this prompt, so let's see if it does any better this time around. Very much so not. Crazy Blues gets a point with their Home Alone reference.
Time for the final tiebreaker of 1B.
The responses for prompt 3 were, we should abolish all schools to stop school bullying, and use ICMBs, triggering air raid alarms, it'll wake you up.
I don't see an issue with the first one. Let's see if the voters agree.
Same score, but different people. Crazy Blues gets the final point and becomes the last person from 1B to pass on to round 2.
The Wacky Executive, Watt and Tarnation, Shadow Leafy, The Real Airy,
TWOW Apple, Sid, FML, I won't use this 255. You did a good job, but we're sorry to say that you 8 have to leave.
Thanks for competing, and good luck in other TWOWs.
On the other hand, and Cyan, Aored, Vin Cactus, Ice,
Crazy Blues, Glass Bottle Brain, RPDC, and YTP Fan 188. Congratulations on making it to round 2.
You and 8 other contestants will shortly be given new prompts to respond to, and will have to fight once again to continue playing in this game. And we'll find out who those people are in episode 1C.